It's a teardown of a Lenovo Ideacentre 510A, and you should be able to use this video as a reference on how to replace parts, but I'm just purely going to be taking this apart in this video. There should be two screws on the back holding the side panel on. Once you remove those, you can slide the panel back and lift it up. From there, there's these three plastic tabs that hold on the front of the case. You can lift up and pull away from the case to release it. It may be stubborn. There you go. You might want to lift the case up off of your surface so you have room to rotate it off. Be mindful of the power button cable. There's enough slack to basically set it down the faceplate flat, I swear, on the table. To open up the drive bay cage, I guess, there's this little tab here. If you push it downwards, so away from the top towards you in this case, that'll release it from what it latches into, and this just swivels up like so. That'll give you access to the SATA cables. Now if you need to remove the drives, there are screws on top. So I think you might only have to remove one of these to get the optical drive out. Yeah. So there's the optical drive, and for some strange reason the tray that's removable as well, but the only screw that was holding that in was the screw there. It looks like this was potentially designed to hold a second hard drive here based on the screw mounts. And we're going to remove the hard drive next. I don't know spacing wise where you would put like a 2.5 inch solid state drive. This does use some custom length screws with a little space on them. So if you lose those, you might be out of luck. From there, we're going to disconnect the power button right here. We can probably zoom in a little. There we go. It just pulls up. Feed that through. I guess it tied a little knot around it, so let's undo that knot. Now we can feed that through the front. And that's what the power button assembly looks like. There's also an LED light in there for the hard drive and the push button. So let's untwist this to release these cables. And this is a header for the media card reader. Disconnect these SATA cables, get them out of the way. Power for the drives is on a little breakout cable. Disconnect the power supply, and that appears to be temperature sensor. This was temperature sensor. Now we're going to disconnect the 4-pin CPU power connector. There's 3 screws on the back to remove the power supply. And there's a little locking tab in front of the power supply. I think I'm caught up on some cables here though. Tangled up in the wireless card wires. So we're just going to back that all off. And to release the power supply, you push down that little tab. The power supply should push forwards to the front of the case. Here's the power supply for those wondering. Alright, so I need to unscrew the little hold down for the wireless card so I can release the antenna wires. This is what the wireless card was. see if we can get some stuff out of the way. Let's see what we got for memory. Oh, nice. DDR4, 8 gig and a 4 gig stick. Now, this does have an M.2 slot for solid state drives. You notice there's a little springy tab here to release the mechanism that holds it. And when you lift that up, you slide it down. And if you're, depending on the size of M.2 drive you're using, you might need to remove the extra little tie down so you can use a full size M.2 drive. To reinstall that, you'll line these tabs up with those rectangular holes, like so, and then slide it upwards to hear it lock into place. I think, yeah, it's locked in place. Then you put the M.2 drive in there, and basically this long pointy bit goes into the hole like so, all the way in to lock it into the M.2 drive to hold it in place. This also does have a nice little pull tab, which is a handy feature. I'm going to remove that so I can get the motherboard out. Let's see here. I think I'm going to remove the SD card reader first, which requires you to remove this little front cover piece. Just do one screw and it just lifts on out. Feed the cable through. It's USB based, but it's a slightly different header. On the front here you see your front wireless antenna, and this is the temperature probe. I think to release the temperature probe, there's a plastic latch holding it in place. I'll put this back the way it's supposed to be here real quick. So one side latches into the case, and this bottom side a little spring tab that you can push on and release. So it was like that. Push on the bottom piece and it'll kind of hinge out. Now that we've gotten that loose, let's do the fan. The rear case fan is on rubber mounts, which are going to be fun to remove. Oh man. You want to be careful because if you pull too hard, they'll snap, or they'll suddenly give way and your hand will go flying into something that hurts. But to put it back into place, you just pull it on through like that. And this is a standard 4-pin fan, so you could replace this really with any, presumably 80mm case fan. I think this is 80. It's probably an 80mm fan. Remove the heatsink, 4 screws. Disconnect the fan real quick. There's the fan connector. And depending on the CPU, it's usually a good idea to give it a little wiggle. This one broke loose on its own. Not a lot of contact area for the thermal compound. I think this is socket FM2. Oh no, it's AM4. I was not expecting that. Huh. So it's a socket AM4. Must be the budget line, because I thought AM4 was Ryzen. Handful of screws around the motherboard to get it out. Oops. From there, I like to lift these up by the memory slot. Usually it's okay. You have to slide it forward until it stops. Basically, it'll hit the front of the case, rotate it up, and kind of angle it out. It's because this protrudes beyond the front wall of the case. There's your CMOS battery holder. Looks like, that's weird. There's 2 clear CMOS jumpers according to that label. What else of interest is there? I don't see a password reset jumper anywhere, but that's what the motherboard looks like. And there's the bottom side. So this has a non-standard cooler. It's not using the AMD cooler, but you probably could convert it to that if you wanted to, although this also uses non-standard power. So that's all there is to see. Yeah. Hopefully that was interesting, and thanks for watching.